ABC Sports presents Live, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, the Greater Hartford Open from the Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. And here are our 5 finalists. In 5th place, Monachelli, one of the most promising young players on the tour, making his 11th championship round appearance in his career. He'll square off with Janello, who'll be looking for his 6th career title and his 2nd in 1986. The winner will meet Del Warren. At the Greater Los Angeles Open this year, he went from 5th to 1st and the winner's circle. 2nd place, Steve Cook, is the only lefty in the finals. He has thrown 2 300 games this week. And our tournament leader is in the championship finals for the first time in his career, Ray Perez from Cincinnati, Ohio. They'll be competing for $18,000 first prize money today on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here are the lanes at Bradley Bowl, Windsor Locks, Connecticut, about 11 miles from the heart of downtown Hartford, Connecticut. We're delighted to be back because this is the 13th year that we have come here for the finals of a professional bowling telecast, and the folks here are as friendly as you'll find anywhere in the world here in the state of Connecticut. We have a friendly field of 5, a total of 15 titles, but they're held by 3 of the 5 bowlers, 2 non-winners in our tournament leader, Perez, and the man in the number 5 position from Venezuela, Janello Monachelli. You'll like their style. They're exciting and colorful. You'll like the style of my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr., who won here twice, and here he is.
As you said, Chris, won here twice in previous years, and that was a way back there.
Not that far.
74 and 75.
What's going to happen today?
Great field today, Chris. You set it up perfectly. We have 2 non-winners, and the importance of this tournament for them, being the Greater Hartford Open, they're calling it the Last Chance Open, because this is the last chance for any one of the players to get in next week's money-laden and prestigious Firestone Tournament of Champions. The man in number 5 position, Monachelli, and our tournament leader, Perez. Now, what's going to happen? Well, you saw it last week. Peter Hakem, 8 strikes in a row, a solid 7, stopped him from going on to $100,000 bonus and a 300 game. Well, this week, there's already been 8 300 games rolled. Steve Cook in the number 2 position has rolled 2 perfect games this week. The lanes and the conditions are perfect for a perfect game. A $100,000 bonus to the man who can do it, Chris. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of strikes. Let's get on with the action.
All right, thank you, Nelson Burton. And there they are, Janello Monachelli from Barquisimeto, Venezuela. 24-year-older will watch 28-year-old Don Janello. He has 1 TV appearance this year, and he won it, the Light Bear Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You know, for Don, who's originally from North Merrick, Long Island, New York, 4th straight year that he's won at least 1 title. Has a total of 5. First shot, left lane. Didn't come up, leaving the 2, 7, and 8. He left that during practice, and we asked him if he left the 2, 8 often, not the 7. He said yes, throughout the week. He wasn't the only one, Bo. There were several that did it.
Well, then you don't get enough action of the head pin off the sideboard. What he has to do is get the ball to the right of the 2 pin, drive the 2 back into the 7, 8 area.
Anxious moments at the line for Don Janello. On the championship pair, averaged 208 in 2 games. Monachelli is up now, averaging 212 in this championship pair. Here is a talented, exciting young athlete. Four pin.
Unusual pin action. Monachelli just ripped the 5 and missed the 4. As you see this powerful style, as you mentioned, Chris, of this young athlete. It kind of shuttle steps that first step, then goes into a 5-step delivery. The high backswing, the open hand. Now watch the snap of the wrist as he comes down through the ball, bends that elbow, shovels that wrist under the ball, sends it to the right. Didn't get a good break on that. Has an easy spare at the 4 pin. As you see, 2 different colored shoes, a good luck charm of this young man.
And a new pair of shoes. His having been in a friend's automobile, and the automobile was stolen. Thus, he lost the shoes. You see the dead seriousness of this 24-year-old from Venezuela, who last year on TV 5 times, finished second 3 times. This year he was 4th and 2nd on our telecast.
The grip of Monachelli, digs those fingers into that long fingertip span, settles that ball in the palm of the hand. Good concentration. Watch that action.
There are the bad breaks that winners, well, they can't see those, the 7-10s. They just can't win.
Watch the action in the 5-pin. The ball hits the 1-3, then the 5 should go over into the 7 zone, but the ball's hooking so sharply, he drives the 5-pin straight back. A bad break for Monachelli.
So now, a more experienced Don Janello. Let's see what he does after that opening. Janello, a 5-year PBA member. He has 5 titles, 6'1", 150 pounds. After converting a split, shooting in the 2nd frame. And that's what you pros do, Nelson. You jump on every opportunity.
You're right, Chris. As you see, just a classic style of Don Janello. Everything in perfect position, his head steady, arm swing locked. Now watch the nice pivot step and deep knee bend, extended follow through, and he just poses that position. A good disciplinary factor. Janello leading by 13, up on the left lane, 3rd frame.
So increasing it now to 23 pins over Janello Monachelli. But if you're rooting for Monachelli, don't give up on him because he's tough. He's shooting in the 3rd frame after an open, 27 through the 2nd. Sister Andriana Monachelli, student at Fairleigh Dickinson.
Watch the hand action and the ball action of Monachelli. Good swing. He locks that arm in behind. Now watch as he hits the bottom of the swing. Look at that elbow snap underneath the ball. The wrist action out over the 2nd arrow, out to about the 2nd board. Now watch him just demolish these pins. Phenomenal power. Bumps that 10-pin out. As you said, Chris, don't give up on Monachelli. He can really string strikes with that power ball.
Now he's cut Janello's lead to 13 with that double. We're in our very first game at the Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. 15th stop on the tour. We'll be back.
Excuse me. Yes. How much is it going to cost?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
Look, is my car ready yet?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. Is this warranty good and Dubuque?
Every day, more and more Americans are becoming less satisfied with their car care. That's why Firestone developed MasterCare. With prices posted at the counter, MasterCare services that are warranted coast to coast and your car ready when promised. Because at Firestone, we're not satisfied until you're satisfied.
America's driving to Firestone.
Started out as a party, but turned into a case of the missing case.
Groovy shindig. Incredible feat. Thank you.
Hey, who's turning out the lights?
It's okay, doll.
No, it's not. There's a case of Miller Lite missing.
Who took it? It had to be somebody in this room.
Rodney!
Hey, guys, take it easy, will you?
Why'd you do it, Rodney? 'Cause light tastes great?
Yeah! Cause light's less filthy.
Yeah!
I tell you, I didn't do it. Well, I'm not even Rodney.
You! I thought it was a costume party. Great mask, huh?
It's no mystery that there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
But if he didn't do it, who did?
When Don Janello gets into the finals, Mary comes in from Perrysburg, Ohio, and her cooking has added 10 pounds to her husband's slight frame, and I can say that because I know about slight frames. There's Don. tough break, leaving the 10 on the right lane.
The difference between the power players such as Monachelli and the pinfall of Janello. Watch the 6-pin. It lays down in the channel, doesn't have a chance to knock out the 10. As you saw Monachelli, when he got up in the 3rd frame, just draw that 10-pin right out with his 6-pin. Janello, an accuracy player. Monachelli, a power player.
And each week here on our live telecast on the Professional Bowlers Tour, we see a variety of styles. They attack those pins in a different manner and style. And here you have a classic example. Don is 15-10 in 15 appearances on ABC with a 222 average. He's tough. 5 titles. A 7.
Janello doesn't quite get the pin action as his ball hits a little bit light. The head pin goes to sideboard, and it doesn't quite take out. Now watch the action of the head pin as the ball hits it. Now normally if you're going to strike, it'll grab the 7-pin, then knock out the 4 and the 5. Just slides by the 7. Janello with a spare here would continue to lead by 11 pins.
Oh, what a follow-through. After our next game, Nelson Burton's tip of the week, and continuing in a series, it'll be the 4th on practicing. And these young men do a lot of it, a lot of competing. Monachelli. We mentioned earlier that Janello had his favorite pair of shoes stolen. We asked him what happened.
Well, this is a different experience. Last week in New York, my bowling balls were stolen, and my shoes too. So this week when I came here, I got my new pair. I went to the shoemaker, and it happened that the guy was like 12 miles away from my father's town in Italy. So the guy made the new pair for me, and here I am.
I guess he's here. He's on the left lane now with that new pair of shoes.
In the trilingual, Monachelli ordered those shoes in Italian. He says an old Italian shoemaker knew just what he needed.
Monachelli, who flirts with that channel. And we'll have from the left side Steve Cook a little later.
Watch this ball. It looks like it's going to slide off in the moat. The spinning action, the ball hangs it on. Now the sharp break, 18 boards to the pocket, just sucks all 10 pins off. He has the lead by 9 and put the pressure on Don Janello. 6th frame.
Oh, an 8-pin, and Don continues to wryly laugh. Is he confused, Bo?
Well, I think he's a little bit confused, Chris, but there's not much he can do. He left that 10-pin on that lane in the 4th, and he left the 7 and the pin in the 5th, and then a apparent solid hit leaves the 8-pin here in the 6th.
One thing about Janello, he is loose, and it's our very first match here at the Greater Hartford Open. The winner to meet Del Warren, who won in Los Angeles earlier in the year, then Steve Cook, and then Ray Perez.
160-man field, all bowled 18 games of qualifying. We cut to the top 24, and they bowled 24 match game play in rounds 4, 5, and 6. Now we're down to the top 5, the championship round. Janello, 7th frame, trails by 10.
And now that strike will set him up for the 8th frame coming up in a very, very close first match. Don't go away, because we'll be back.
Tommy Lasorda here, introducing the Honda All-Stars. We've got quite a team this year. Leading off and cutting the infield down the side, the Honda Lawn Mower. In the outfield, covering left, center, and right, the Honda Lawn Tractor. Tearing up those baselines, the Honda Tiller. And the Honda Generator, the real power in the lineup. Without it, I wouldn't have any fans.
Enter Honda's All-Star Game at participating dealers. You could win tickets and travel expenses to the baseball game of your choice.
Ollie, I can't see.
Relax. I know France like the back of my hand.
We need new Anco wiper blades.
Anco refillable windshield wiper blades for Datsun, Toyota, and VW are available everywhere.
Much better.
Ollie, are you sure we're in France?
Where do you think we are? Spain? Spain? Spain!
Anco, the best blades you can buy. Test proven.
The only American stop of its kind on the circuit. A wild ride from the demanding hills of Carlsbad. The U.S. Grand Prix Motocross Championship. Plus Kentucky Derby contenders vie at the Wood Memorial, live on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
On ABC, Wide World next. Next, our live coverage of the Greater Hartford Open. See, has a three-bagger. A strike here will even it up. Monachelli. And a 7.
Once again, Monachelli's power is his downfall. He drives the 5-pin behind the 7 instead of the 5-pin taking out the 7-pin. Monachelli has a third bad break of the game. Remember, the first frame he left the 4-pin on a good hit, then the 7-10, as we call the swishing 7-10, strung 4 together, and now he's left the 7-pin. Conversion here, he will lead by 9.
Janello, a Professional Bowlers Association member for 5 years. And that first title has been elusive.
Well, I think with Janello, Chris, and just his ability and his conditioning factor on and off the lanes, it's not if he wins, it's going to be when he wins. He's definitely a factor out here in the Pro Bowlers Tour. Right now, 9-pin lead, 8th frame, spare working in the 7th.
5 feet 8 inches tall. Didn't quite come up the way he wanted it to, leaving the 2-4.
He was kind of surprised with that shot. Remember, in the previous frame, he sent it almost all the way out to the channel. The ball came back solid in the pocket. He didn't go quite as wide that time and leaves the 2-4 spare, fortunately knocking out the 8, which would have made the spare much more difficult with the double wood. Improved spare player, Monachelli, hard and straight.
And if Monachelli can go all the way today, he will be eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions, and that will be 1 week from today. $50,000 to the winner, Bo.
Mark Williams, the defending champion. Our statistician today, Mike Durbin, 3-time Firestone champion. Janello has to get his act together. He can take the lead with a strike.
It leaves the 6-10. And Bo mentioned Mark Williams, the defending Firestone. He won here prior to going to Akron to win that title. So maybe this is a good setup for the person that comes out of here on top.
Good point. You have that momentum going, and the same type of shot works here. It works at Riviera Lanes in Akron. Across lane for an excellent spare shooter, Don Janello.
Winner of this close first game meets Del Warren, then Steve Cook, and then Ray Perez of Cincinnati.
This is a position in a match where Don Janello shines. In his last 2 title victories, the one at the King Louis in 1985, the Miller Lite Championship, where he defeated Roth in 1986, he stood up there and needed strikes in the 9th and 10th frames and got them. Known as one of the best clutch players on the tour, Janello only trails by 7. He will need some strikes to win this match.
And he gets it. Pinfall you hear just then, that of Del Warren practicing.
Janello with a Don Carter type of strike. As you see his reaction, he blows the 5-pin out, and the 4-pin takes out the 7. He doesn't depend on driving it over there. He's put himself in a position where if Monachelli does not strike on this ball, it'll go to the very 10th frame, very end. What do I have to do, he must say. He's saying, what do I have to do? Monachelli throws that powerful ball out there. Watch the angle he uses. Slides about the center of the approach, starts the ball out over the second arrow, all the way out to the channel. With that kind of angle of attack to the pocket, you should strike on every shot. He's had 5 frames where the ball was in the pocket, and he has not struck on any of those in this match.
All right.
10th frame action. It will be the player who can perform in the 10th frame that'll win the match. Janello is working at a 2:07 pace with a strike up. Monachelli at a 2:13 pace, spare working.
Looking away. With that careful preparation.
No doubt about that one. He's been a little high, a little light on a few shots. And look at that concentration. He wants to win so badly, Chris. With 2 games to go last night, 3 games to go, I went by him and I said to him, I thought you told me you were going to see me at the Firestone. He says, well, I'll win these next 3 games and average 250. That's exactly what he did. Now he has to win 4 more.
Moving from a 12th to 5th.
Can take a 16-pin lead with another strike, but cannot shut out the tough Janello.
That one was so close to the channel, but the attack, what do you call it, Bo? What kind of an attack?
This is a lateral attack, Chris, and look at this. He's out on that very inboard. One reason a ball hangs on the inboard like that in bowling is naturally the spin and the lean towards the pocket, but the edge board of a lane is made out of maple, and it's a little harder, and it doesn't kind of slide off like it would on a pine board. It's usually just a pinch harder and a little higher holds the ball on the lane. Right now, Monachelli can finish with a 223 game, and he would have a 16-pin lead and force Janello to strike twice.
What a finish by the Venezuelan, whose dad owns a bowling establishment in Barranquilla, Venezuela. Janello is his first name. So he shot a 223. Here now is Janello.
Janello needs 2 strikes and 7 pins to win. If he does not strike on the next 2 balls, he cannot win the match. One of the great clutch players up there on the approach.
There's one.
I've seen him for 3 years, Chris. He's just ice water in his veins, just drills the ball solid in the pocket under the pressure, and he's put himself in a position where he needs 1 more strike and 6 to tie, 7 or better to win.
A veteran of all those tough bowling leagues in the New York area. What experience they get growing up. Now, 2, 4, 5.
Saw it when he let go of it. Did not get the wrist action. The ball slides by. You have a winner in Janello Monachelli.
And, of course, we'll have Janello's final score when we return. So it's going to be Monachelli going against Juan.
The Professional Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. By Honda Power Equipment, lawnmowers, lawn tractors, and portable generators made to last. And by Firestone, with over 4,000 Firestone retailers from coast to coast. We'll return with more bowling after this message and a word from your local station.
Announcing the Ace No Track Snap Lock Heavy Load Easy Buy Save Cash Sale.
The what?
The April Best Buys, like this AstroTurf doormat for just $2.88.
No tracks.
This Ace 32-gallon trash container.
Has a snap lock lid.
Only $5.49 with the $2.50 rebate. The Ace 33-gallon
heavy load
large trash and lawn bags are just $2.33.
Easy buy
with the Ace Helpful Hardware credit card.
And save cash on all the other bargains in the Ace April Circular. The Ace No Track Snap Lock Heavy Load Easy Buy Save Cash Sale.
They were asking for trouble when they asked me to test ride Monroe's gas Magnum shocks on my pickup. Truck's only a couple years old. It rides fine. I only break half a dozen eggs a day. I gotta tell you, with the gas Magnums, my truck rode a lot better. But I still broke an egg. See that little crack right there? See?
Save during the Monroe Best Ride sale. Plus, get a $6 cashback bonus on every pair of gas Magnum shocks you buy.
He was bad. Richard Pryor, Christopher Reeve, Superman 3, Sunday.
I'm no fool. I love Ponderosa's Sundae bar. Vanilla, chocolate, swirl. Mommy and Daddy love the Ponderosa Sundae bar, too. Fabulous. I could eat them all. I can, too, because Ponderosa lets you have all the sundaes you can eat for 59 cents. There's no stopping those 10 toppings. Like I said, we're no fools.
Now only $3.79 for a complete charbroiled ribeye steak dinner.
This is my new TV. I got it on time at Video World. Then I get this call from Avco. What's an Avco, I ask? Avco Financial Services. We're handling your new TV payments? Uh-oh, I think. So they go on. How's the set? Catch that game last night? If you ever need a few extra bucks, just talk to Avco. Bye. Wow, what nice guys. So I talked to Avco, and they really listened. This is my new VCR.
Talk to Avco. You'll like the way we listen.
Watch MASH weekdays at 5:30 on WHTM.
We cannot let this season pass without reporting on a controversy which has emerged within the Professional Bowlers Association over the PBA rules which restrict the bowlers' outside activities. The PBA, as many of you know, is a large organization consisting of 3,000 members. 125 of them are regular touring professionals. Now, for several years, some of the PBA touring members have been lobbying to relax the PBA's limitations on commercial endorsements and players' participation in non-PBA competitions and exhibitions. These players proposed that a tournament players division be formed within the PBA whose members could participate in tournaments sponsored and televised by other organizations and earn additional income from commercial endorsements and personal appearances. The PBA turned down this and similar proposals, expressing concern that outside activities of this type could threaten the economic survival of the PBA. Now these members have filed an antitrust action in federal district court in the state of Washington, challenging the legality of these rules. The case is expected to be heard by the court late next year. If successful, this lawsuit could change the PBA's role in this sport. As with most legal cases, the issues are extremely complicated, and we cannot fully explore all the issues for both sides at this time. We will try to keep you abreast of the case as it develops. In that first match, Monachelli of Venezuela with 7 strikes, 223, Don Janello, 214. Monachelli now one step closer to his first win, but now he must face Del Warren, who won the Greater Los Angeles Open early in our tour this year. Second stop, as a matter of fact. Del, at 6 feet 4 inches tall, will shoot first.
Be a lot of strikes in this match. Del Warren averaged 245 in that Los Angeles victory as he wiped out 4 opponents. Monachelli with that powerful style, Chris, you said, and I believe that he is going to be a force to be contended with today. Let's see if Warren can sneak by him.
So little of the approaches used by Del. Gets to that line in a hurry. Look at that. High hit, and they all go. A little wry smile on the face of Warren from Lake Worth, Florida.
The championship pair lanes 27 and 28 here at Bradley Bowl, right across from Bradley International Airport between Springfield, Massachusetts and Hartford, Connecticut. 44 Wayne Bowling Center. The left-hand lane will hook more than the right.
Seven strikes in his victory over Janello, and he opens here with a strike. Should we, this week or next week, have a 300 perfect game, True Value Hardware, bonus of $100,000. Can't wait to give away that check, Bo.
It's going to happen sooner or later. Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, a guy like Monachelli, who is a disciplined athlete, top physical condition, because he trains so hard on and off the lanes as his sister looks on, if he can stay loose and carry, loose he is now after winning 1 match, he's the type of player that can threaten that 300.
Well, he has 2, just makes it. And as Bo mentioned at the top of the show, Steve Cook will be up next to add 2 300s during the week.
What a superb shot. He throws that big power ball. The 2-pin goes to the sideboard, drives out the 4 and the 7. The 4-pin comes out and gets the 9. As we said, the championship pair, the left-hand lane, hooks a little more. He needs his first good break that he's had today. He started with a double. A little pressure on Del Warren right out of the gate.
Strike up, second frame. So the match is all even through 2 frames here at the Bradley Bowl.
For a man 6 feet 4 inches tall, only takes about 10, 12 feet of the approach area, 4-step delivery. And the reason he has shortened that delivery up like that, Chris, is that little loop he has in his arm swing. With that short approach and very methodical, slow approach, he can realign his arm swing and control it at the bottom to control his trajectory. Del Warren has started with 2 strikes.
Tell you, Bo, if we could sell the gold that these 2 pros are wearing, we'd have a pocket full of change, wouldn't we?
Not bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that is another smile on the face of Warren, and those you need.
Watch the pin action. The big hook of Del Warren. He just chops the 5 straight off the 9. The 4-pin comes off the sideboard and takes out the 9. Unusual. He has to be very happy with his good break of carrying out the 9-pin. Match is all even. Both players are perfect.
Monachelli now on the right lane. Oh, 7-10.
Once again, Monachelli is taken down by his power. He drives the 5-pin straight back. Watch the action of the 5-pin. The ball hits the 1-3. And now a normal player would drive the 5-pin over towards the 7. Monachelli has so much power, he drives it straight back.
Make sure that he gets that 1. Oh, Monachelli, who defeated Janello 223 to 214. It's a similar problem in the first game, but he didn't give up, and he just fought back to win.
Monachelli going to the rosin, puts it on his ball, sets it back on the table. Can't be in the set area. Has to wipe it off his ball. You can't leave any residue on your ball before your shot. Sets himself, trails by 24 pins.
As he did in the first game, following an open, came through with a powerful strike. Our second game, more of it after this.
Test pilot Chuck Yeager for AC Delco.
Up here, power when you need it can save your neck. When you get back down to your car, it helps too. Today's smaller engines need extra firepower from a spark plug, and AC delivers. If you could look inside your engine, you'd see an AC spark plug delivering up to 30,000 volts, firing 30 times a second. Firepower when you need it from AC.
Get rebates now on AC spark plugs.
Never wait for trouble.
For every man who wears Brute, there's a woman who loves what he smells like. Because there's something about Brute that's nice to be close to. And nobody knows that better than a woman. Brute. It smells like a man.
Hello? Honey, I was just thinking about you.
Brute. It smells like a man.
A little bit behind our regular time schedule. While we were away, this man bowled his 4th consecutive strike. Now, 5th frame, Del Warren. A 2-pin.
Starting with 4 strikes in a row, Warren throws the ball just a pinch wide on the right-hand lane, gets a good break, takes out that 7 and 8 pins that Janello left in the very first frame of the championship round today, has an easy spare, the 2-pin, to maintain a 23-pin lead.
All right, 4 in a row and a spare for Del Warren. finished third overall, and this is the money breakdown.
18 for first, 95 for second, 4,500's already gone to the man in fifth. Janello, these two players are playing for a $1,500 difference between third and fourth. Now Monachelli, trailing by 33, can cut the lead of Del Warren to 23 with a strike here in the fifth. He has a strike up in the fourth.
He's done just that. The man that finished fifth in the field, 160. Finishing sixth was Henry Gonzalez of Colorado Springs, $4,000. And a man that seems to always have a lot of bowling balls around, Del Warren, doing some work on that maroon job.
Del Warren putting a piece of tape in the thumb hole to keep that thumb hole nice and tight. He's got a piece of tape wrapped around his index finger where he wears a blister on it from that releasing the ball with that spinning motion.
Going for a turkey. Four pin.
A man who is a excellent soccer potential in his country of Italy, played on one of the top soccer teams there, needed that strike to cut the lead down to under 20 pins over Del Warren. Spare here, he'd have 105 in the fifth with a spare in the sixth. Andreina looks on. Just came back from a trip to Italy, she said. The downfall of Janello Monachelli has been open frames historically. In the last 4 years, he slides by the four pin. Just absolutely no reason for a mistake like that. A good top pro like that, not taking his time, setting himself and making that simple spare, has opened the door for Del Warren to just crush him here with a couple more strikes.
Four pin for Del Warren of Lake Worth, Florida.
Del Warren, watch his pivot step, his second to last step here. Now as he drives through and plants with this left foot, and he drives through with his right. He slips, doesn't get quite underneath the ball. He falls off to the right, avoids the high hit, has an easy spare, the same spare that Monachelli just missed in the sixth.
Del's 26 years old, basketball player at Lake Worth High School.
Played forward for that high school team, said he really enjoyed basketball, but not much of a scoring machine. He said he fouled out more often than not.
He could become a two-time winner here in 1986. We have only one, and that is Walter Ray Williams. Didn't have a very good week here, but he'll be at Firestone, along with 51 others. All winners.
Boy, he eased off on that shot. Just decelerated at the bottom of the swing. I've heard you say it before in golf, Chris. You must accelerate that club head through a shot. The same goes for your arm in the bowling game. You cannot quit on the downswing. Del Warren, very tentative as he released the ball, got a good break to even have a spare to shoot at the 3-6.
Last two shots, he's had trouble at the line. Sticking or slipping. Ooh, just did get the 3-6. We're in our second match. Warren and Monachelli. More of it after this.
At his last tune-up, Jim McGill forgot to change something very important, his engine belts. After 4 years, belts can break anytime. So don't take chances. Next tune-up, get Gates belts. More mechanics install Gates and more people rely on them than any other belt made. Remember, if your car's 4 years old, get Gates before it's too late.
We've got what it takes, true value. We've got what it takes.
This heavy-duty master cable lock has a resettable combination, and the 6-foot steel cable is vinyl coated so it won't scratch your valuables. During April, it's only $6.99. Look for the Hardware Value of the Month banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
We've got what it takes, true value.
think the old Kentucky humorist Irvin S. Cobb summed it up pretty well when he said, if you've never been to the great Kentucky Derby, you ain't never been nowhere, and you ain't never seen nothing.
And repeating, as we're running behind schedule in our 90-minute time period because of slower than usual bowling, Aubrey Way, Monachelli doubled, and that cuts this man's lead to 23 pins. He has the spare working shooting in the 8th frame. Second game.
How many pins were in that rack, Chris?
Tell me about that one, Bo.
Well, it looked like somebody stood behind the machine. When they used to have pin boys, that's the way a lot of bowlers used to shoot high scores. A pin boy would throw an extra pin in there. Let's see what happens. The ball hits. Now watch in the right part of your screen. There goes the 3-pin straight back. The ball hits upon the underneath the 3-pin and comes back on the lane. All right. Good replay right there. Great break for Del Warren. Right now he's going at a 226 pace. Monachelli, if he strikes out, would be 233. It'll go right to the end.
Del Warren, one-time winner. Greater Los Angeles Open here in 1986. With a big double, the last strike in the 9th.
Del Warren playing a little deeper line on the left-hand lane. You can see he's between the 7th and 8th boards on the right-hand lane and more around the second arrow on the left-hand lane. That's how to play the championship pair. Once again, we said the left-hand lane hooks a little bit more than the right just because the grain of the wood. Monachelli must situation, 9th frame.
Gets the 7th.
The first good thing that has happened to Monachelli on a light hit today. He drives the head pin in the sideboard. It gets between the 4 and 7 pins and does the job. He has left the 7-pin or 7-10 combination on that same hit twice today. That shot has put him in a position where he could possibly take the lead with 2 more strikes. He has struck in the 2nd and 4th frames in this left-hand lane, left a 4-pin. Struck him once again in the 8th, up here in the 10th.
Monachelli, admired by his sister, the student at Fairleigh Dickinson, looking carefully at the overhead score sheet to make sure. Meanwhile, Steve Cook, who will meet the winner, keeps warming up. He's the big, powerful left-hander, 9 titles. Exciting player.
Del Warren looking away. Monachelli with this shot would be in the 230s. Warren working in a 230 pace. It'll be who can get the best pin count on the final balls. It is not over yet.
As he did in his first game victory over Don Janello, 223 to 214, he is striking at the end.
Monachelli, what an unusual game he's bowled so far. He starts with a double, gets a swishing 7-10 split in the 3rd, throws strikes in the 4th and the 5th, misses the 4-pin in the 6th, has strung together 5 more strikes, has no spares so far in the game, and naturally can't spare on this ball, but he can still win the match.
Left lane.
A 0 in the box means a split. Naturally, a line means a missed spare.
Well, with a couple of setbacks early in the match, he has come through with 6 at the end, and now Del Warren, the double up. Boy, those strikes really cut leads, Bo, and this is a 3-pin lead now held by Del Warren.
Del Warren must mark here in the 10th and get at least 18 pins. A strike is a sure winner.
And there. Del Warren getting the action and reaction from the rolling and flying pins.
Watch the head pin. What a great break. He rips the 5 out. The head pin disappears out of the screen to the left, and here it comes rolling back across, coming across. He's rooting for it. It hits the 10, puts him in the winner's circle. He'll go against Big Steve Cook in the semifinal match. Cook has rolled 2 perfect games this week. Warren can end up with a 256 with 2 more strikes. 4 pins, just keep it in the building, Dell.
Monachelli shot at 233. So it is a fact. Del Warren has won the second match, eliminating Janello Monachelli, who shot at 233, will have Del's final score. Well, it's tip time, and in today's tip, Bo continues with part 4 of his series on how to get the most out of your practice. Watch and listen.
The Professional Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week is brought to you by Radio Shack, the computer experts.
In practice game number 4, we're going to work on accuracy. Remember game number 1, we loosened up. Game number 2, we found the strike line, reading the lanes. Game number 3, we practiced our various strike zones. Now game 4 is the most important part of our whole practice series. That is accuracy. In bowling, 95% of the game is accuracy. No matter how much power you have on that first ball, you still must be accurate with that ball and accurate on the spares. Now here's how we can practice our accuracy. First, move to the left side of the lane. You have a full set of pins up there, and just try to nip off the 10 pin. This will discipline you to be very accurate and precise in a zone. Shoot the ball right over the 3rd arrow. There you go. On the first shot, I hit the 10 pin off. I still have the remaining 9 pins up. What I want to do is practice the other side of the lane now. We're going to shoot for the 7 pin. Move to the right side of the approach. Use that same 3rd arrow. Remember, this is a practice game of accuracy. Here we go. Right side of the approach. Use the 3rd arrow. Let's see what happens. There it is. There is a tremendous practice vehicle. Knock the 10 pin off on the first ball, trying to avoid the channel. Come back, shoot the left side, try to knock the 7 pin off on the second ball, avoiding the channel. There you've bowled a complete disciplined game. A perfect game under this type of scoring system would be 20.
Yesterday, buying an IBM XT was a good business decision. But today, the Tandy 1200 from Radio Shack can give you the same power and performance for about half the price. The 1200 runs the same IBM XT compatible software, is backed by a company committed to service and support. And the Tandy 1200 costs about half as much. Tandy, clearly superior. In business for business. Only at Radio Shack Computer Centers.
It's ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour season finale. Past winners take aim at the richest purse on the tour, the $250,000 Tournament of Champions, next Saturday.
All right, Del Warren, with 7 strikes, shot at 245. Janello Monachelli shot at 233 with 10 strikes. Monachelli's out. Warren is in against Cook.
160-man field, 209 average for the whole field, all 160 players, 217 to make the top 24. 1,400 entries in the Pro-Am on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Here's some of the other top 24 finishers. Gonzalez, Sam Macarone had a 300. Jim Harvey, an early leader. Amateur up there. Marshall Holman back on tour. Purvis Granger says hi to Sally. Mike Jasnow, one of our college players. 300 Wonderlick in there. Mike Durbin, ready to defend his Firestone Championship. Schultes, college player. Bellinger in there. John DeLutis once again. Dave Ferraro, Bruce Cook steady. Bramwell up there. David Ozio, the Wizard up there. Gary Dickinson down and in. Frank Ellenberg and Johnny Petraglia, a Triple Crown winner who will be in the Firestone next week is in the top 24.
And these were the 300 games. Look at them and count them. 8. Steve Cook, with 2 of them, narrowly missed another. And by the way, in the Firestone and Janello Monachelli's hope of getting there in 1986, out. Only 1 man left of the 3 bowlers. That's our tournament leader, Ray Perez, a non-winner who still has a shot. This man is in because of a victory in Los Angeles. Jimmy Pritz in nearby Lawrence, Massachusetts, on the bubble.
Del Warren has bowled his TV average the first game. He averaged 245 in L.A. He starts with 245 here.
6 feet 4 inces tall, 185. Now get a look at this man, the left-hander, 6 feet 7, at least 240 pounds. Steve Cook, 9 years, member of the PBA, 9 titles, including the United States Open, won this year, the champion. Look how close he is to that ball return. And look how close to the channel and into the pocket for this big man from California.
Steve Cook just does it so well. He's got his good timing. He's cut his hook down a little bit. Good push away. That high backswing. Look at how steady his head is on the target. Then drives through with that pivot step. A great knee bend. Delivers that ball very smoothly at the foul line. Tremendous extension out towards the target. That's what lets that ball hold and set up at the pocket. Cook, as you mentioned, Chris, had 2 perfect games this week. He started the tournament with 300. Round 4, he shot 300. And in round 3, he started a game with 10 strikes in a row, threw the ball in the channel, made the spare, came back with a strike. So actually he knocked down all 12 pins, all 10 pins 12 times for a 280.
And here in our semifinal game, he has 2. Speaking of 2, it's a 2-part Wide World of Sports. This week, the United States Grand Prix Motocross Championship from Carlsbad, and then live from Aqueduct, the Wood Memorial, the 61st edition of that great race for 3-year-olds.
Cook likes this shot. Starts with a double.
Strike up in the first, shooting in the second, Warren. Again, a little bit of a, well, stuck at the line. Amazing.
Watch the action of the 3 and 6 pins. The 3 pin goes to the sideboard, tips the 6, drives back, a pin in play, drives out to 4-7. It's all Del Warren's way through first 12 frames of his matches today.
Professional bowling, you not only have to be good, great, you have to be lucky. That's life.
Del Warren, a good practicer, and as you always said, Chris, luck favors the well-prepared.
Right.
Match all even through 2.
Well, the 4 this time was of no help.
Just a touch high on that left-hand lane as Del Warren eased back on the speed slightly. The ball drifted high. The 2 pin did not do its job and take out the 4. Changes ball to a harder, shinier ball that doesn't hook on the lane as much to convert the spare.
One time this week he used 6 balls in competition, Del Warren. Cook in second among the money winners this year. And $18,000 goes to the winner today. So Walter Ray Williams will still be the leader going into Firestone.
Steve Cook playing that extreme outside line. Carefully sets himself on the approach. Look at how far left he is. He's got to watch out he doesn't send it into the channel.
Not enough wood on that 7. So, crowd gives him sort of a faint round of applause as Ray Perez of Cincinnati, our tournament leader, continues to practice.
For Steve Cook, the 3 pin does most of the work. It goes to the sideboard, drives out the 6 and 10. The 6 pin does not have enough impetus to take out the 7. Watch the speed that Steve Cook will use on the spare as Candy looks on. Hard and straight, much over 20 miles an hour, 21, 22 miles an hour, Chris.
Cook from Roseville, California, won $74,000 last year.
In just 12 cashes in that $74,000. That means when Steve Cook gets a paycheck, it's $6,000 or better. He's a winner, and when he's hot with that powerful ball, he's very tough as he puts a little rosin on his ball. Now watch him wipe it off. not legal to leave it on there. Takes the towel, wipes it off. Once again, Steve Cook all even through 3 frames.
His first win was in 1979 when he beat Earl Anthony for the title. Powerful strike for the man that's taken over from Earl. Nobody will ever replace Earl Anthony, who no longer competes. We'll be back.
There's something wrong with my car.
Can't come out of the booth.
What's wrong with you people? Don't you fix cars anymore?
I can't come out of the booth.
For one reason or another, more and more Americans are looking for a new home for car service. Firestone, with over 10,000 service bays, 1,500 mastermind computers, and 5,000 trained master care mechanics to give you the service you've been looking for.
America's driving to Firestone.
I saw this demonstration on TV, but I didn't believe it until I tried it myself. On this side, I feel a tingling sensation with Denorex. Here with Selsun Blue, nothing. The tingle tells me that Denorex is doing more.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denorex adds an extra anti-itch medicine many dermatologists recommend.
Feels really good. Refreshing. So long, Selsun Blue. Hello, Denorex.
Denorex shampoo or shampoo and conditioner fights dandruff and its itch with an extra relief medicine.
The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. A phrase synonymous with ABC's Wide World of Sports for a quarter of a century. Join me along with the athletes who made it all happen on our 25th anniversary celebration. It will be an evening to remember.
Share the experience next Saturday night on ABC.
This is Del Warren, who now will try to knock down the 4. Does just that. Our pace still is slow, thus we had to bowl through because running behind schedule. In the 4th frame, Warren with a strike, a spare in the 5th. Close match, Cook now shooting the 5th. Strike up, asking perhaps for a re-rack from Harry Golden, tournament director.
Each player is allowed 3 re-racks in every game, and once you get by 3, you have to ask tournament director Harry Golden for another spot. Harry has approved it, and once again, he said that the rack was tight, meaning that he thinks the 1 and 2 pins are very tight.
There he is, Harry Golden as a competitor.
See where that thumb is in Golden's style there. His that powerful full roller that sent him into a tournament director's job.
What a neat guy. Harry Golden.
Steve Cook to take the lead. Strike working. He's up in the 5th.
It just went by the 8-pin.
Well, you see the problem of the left-handed bowler on the right-hand lane, lane 28. He's been going high. He left the 7-pin on a high hit in the 3rd frame, the 8-pin on a high hit in the 5th frame. Warren, on the other side of the coin, left the 4-pin on the left-hand lane in the 3rd, and the 4-pin once again in the 5th. So for Warren, is to hit the left lane. For Steve Cook, he has to adjust and hit the right-hand lane. The match will be all even with the spare.
Harry Golden being kidded by Bud Fisher and Johnny Campos here at the lanes. Well done by Steve Cook. Big man, tall. This man is tall, too, as our senior vice president, ABC Sports, Steve Solomon. We're glad that our executives come out to see these tension-packed live telecasts. We're in Windsor Locks, Connecticut today.
Steve Cook, who had some trouble with his thumb and release for about a year and a half after he broke his thumb in a batting cage hitting softballs in 1983, has found that his thumb insert, if you'll take a look at his thumb hole as he sets up in the ball and releases it, allows him to have a nice, smooth release.
Oh, that one really came lateral as you look at Candy Cook and their 2 daughters, Stacy at 11 and Jill 5.
Cook just drives all 10 pins off the pit, and you can see that insert in the thumb hole as it rolls over through the pins. Cook, that tremendous extension, just walks this one right into the pocket. The match is all even.
There's Del Warren, who eliminated Janello Monachelli 245 to 233, but prior to that, Monachelli had defeated Don Janello 223 to 214. Semifinal game, the championship match, will feature the tournament leader, non-winner Ray Perez of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Del Warren, no stranger to the Connecticut area. He finished third in the Junior Bowling Championships in Greenwich, Connecticut, 1978. The man who finished second was Mike Albee. The winner, unknown. But has come on to be quite a good player here. Del Warren to take the lead.
Wasn't quite as smooth on that delivery.
What has happened to Warren, Chris, is the left-hand lane. He goes high in the third, high in the fifth, tries to make the adjustment, move left on the approach. The ball does not bite enough at the back end. Watch, he leaves the 2, 4, and 10 as the ball just nips the head pin. He has to get the ball to the left side of the 2 pin, drive it over into the 10 pin area.
Went for it. Didn't make it. So it's an open frame for Del Warren as he goes against Steve Cook for the right to go to the finals.
Hamburger places think it's a snap to make chicken nuggets. But when it comes to doing chicken right, they're just going around in circles. At Kentucky Fried Chicken, making great tasting chicken is all we do. Our nuggets are made with our secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, and they taste great. So for nuggets done right, come to the chicken experts. Anyone else is just along for the ride.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Do you know what kills your muffler? Rust. Rust that can start on the inside and eat its way through. Now there's a muffler that helps stop this problem. The Walker Advantage, with a revolutionary rust inhibitor, Absorbite, that actually absorbs internal moisture. The inside of this muffler was not protected with Absorbite. This muffler was. You can see the difference. The Walker Advantage. It puts rust at a disadvantage.
Warranted at service outlets and auto parts stores where you see this sign.
National League MVP Willie McGee and the league champion Cardinals won a prove last season was no fluke. They'll meet their division rivals, the Montreal Expos. Or George Brett leads the world champion Royals into Toronto to take on the Blue Jays on ABC's Sunday afternoon baseball.
All right, we are back. Rolling through in the 7th frame, a strike for Steve Cook, taking a 24-pin lead. Now here in the 8th frame, he has left the 4, 6, 10.
Chris, just throw the ball at the 6-10 as hard as you can. Try to bounce one of those pins out and take out the 4 pin. Cook studying the scoreboard on the side, seeing if he should take a chance and give up the count. Remember how when you have a double up, every pin that you leave standing works as 2 on the scoreboard. Cook would be wise to go for just the 2 pins, which he's doing.
Okay. Steve Cook, who finished 2nd overall in the field of 160, just behind the tournament leader, Ray Perez, who continues to warm up for that final game. Del Warren now up on the right lane, following it open, 8th frame. Bucket for Warren.
Same type of shot that Janello rolled in the clutch in the very first match, the 11th frame. Does not get the lift on the ball. Doesn't get the, look at him looking down at his hand. The ball slipped off his hand. Does not get that wrist to roll under the ball. You don't get the proper lift or roll, and it doesn't finish. Has left himself the 2, 4, 5, and 8. Tough spare. Cook knows that Warren is in trouble. Warren knows Warren's in trouble. The eyes tell the story.
All right, marks for the spare. The man has earned $25,810 this year from Lake Worth, Florida.
Uses the right side of the lane to make that left side spare. Get enough angle of attack on the 2 and 8 pins and avoid the chop of the 5. A perfect shot in the 8th frame to convert the spare. Trails by 9, coming up in the pivotal 9th frame. This is the lane that has given him so much trouble. He only has one strike that was solid in the pocket in this lane so far.
Got what he wanted. All right, now it's Warren's turn to just sit there, look away. And at work is Steve Cook following it open now in the 9th frame. 9 pins separating these two pros.
Marvelous shot by Warren in the 9th, set himself up for the 10th. Cook has that lead. Let's see how he reacts.
Another beautiful shot by Cook.
The line of the big guy, Steve Cook, the extreme outside angle, out to the 5th board at the arrows, out very near the channel. Breaks the ball back very sharply towards the pocket. All 10 pins in the pit. Pretty shot.
For the biggest guy on tour, 6'7", 240.
Steve Cook with 2 strikes here would shut out Del Warren. If he only gets 1 or less, Warren can still win the match in the 10th.
There's one of them. Cook family here cheering them on as they travel mobile home to tournament.
No doubt about that shot. The big guy drives all 10 in the pit. He's put himself in a position where he can shut out Del Warren and be in the 220s. Once again, Steve Cook does not like the placement of the pins, basically the 1 and 2 pins. No doubt about it, Harry Golden says there is a slight problem. American Bowling Congress rules say that a pin can be off a 1/4 of an inch from the center of the spot. Now, if each pin is off a 1/4 of an inch, that's a 1/2 inch between the 2 pins. That's a little bit too much to ask for a pro for a shot that possibly $18,000 to have the pins off spot that much.
Practically left the building, but not the bowling ball.
Steve Cook, concentration, reaction. He knows it. This is the best I've seen him perform in a long time, even better than when he won the U.S. Open with the big scores. Steve Cook is very sharp. He just needs 2 pins. Keep it in the building, keep it on the lane, and he will go on to meet Ray Perez for the championship.
So Steve Cook has an opportunity to win his 2nd title of the year. Tournament leader Ray Perez has a chance to win his 1st and a trip to the Firestone.
At Midas, we've always been proud of the job we do. A lot of our new customers are referred to us by our old ones.
Howdy, boys.
Welcome back, Mr. Creedy. You see, good service, good prices. The word gets around. Now when you have any Midas shock or strut installed, we'll install the second one for half price. You can feel the difference they make on your car.
Take it to Midas. And in your wallet. Take it to someone you trust.
Lyle Alzado just got tough.
Because I started using Tegrin medicated shampoo and stopped using Head and Shoulders. No more pretty shampoo for me. Tegrin's tough. 4 times tough. It's got a special ingredient that tackles not only your everyday dandruff, but all 4 major causes of flaking and itching. Tegrin does more than Head and Shoulders ever could. So for a man's...
And a woman.
Tough defense against dandruff. Get 4 times tough with Tegrin medicated shampoo.
Now, more than ever, turn to the experience of Peter Jennings on ABC's World News Tonight.
Time to review Brenner Furniture's incredible selection of quality furniture. We've overstocked our merchandise.
The producer went wild, which leads us to our next clip. Roll it.
incredible savings.
51% off everything not featured on a 1986 lineup.
Fabulous selection.
And no payment for 90 days.
Jay, this is my favorite part.
Glad we agree on something.
Save 51% now through April 21st at Brenner Furniture.
It's Kawasaki's 20th anniversary bash with the all-new Ninja 1000R, the street-wide CL600, revolutionary Concours, and the easy-priced 454 Cruiser. Great deals on selected wheels, too, with sizzling savings on some of the hottest late-model bikes in Kawasaki history. ZX750 Turbos, Spectres, GPZs, Eliminators, and more, all at spectacular savings. Dash to the bash now. See your local Kawasaki dealer.
Barney Miller, weeknights at 7 on WHTM.
All right, that third and semifinal game is completed. Steve Cook, 8 strikes, eliminating Del Warren, 222 to 194. Now it's Cook against Ray Perez, as we have a chance to ask Bo. Bo, how much does it cost to bowl on the professional tour each week?
Well, Chris, it's break it down in 4 categories: transportation and lodging, about $300 a week, and normally 2 players travel together. So your entry fee every tournament, $200. That's 160 players at least. Practice games, facilities, and new bowling balls, I would say about $100 per week. Players do use a lot of, and food, they eat pretty good on $200. Add it all up, it's about $800 to travel on the tour. They bowl more than 30 tournaments every year. And I'd like to thank everybody who has written in and asked Bo on these many weeks, and we'll try to keep doing that next year.
All right. Our 25th year Professional Bowlers Tour, and celebrating 25, ABC's Wide World of Sports. Exciting Grand Prix Motocross Championship. International field in that, and what a 3-year-old field in the Wood Memorial.
Chris, the Wood Memorial, Mogambo's the favorite. He wanted the Gotham Stakes there, but it's a 1 1/8 mile this time instead of the 1 mile like the Gotham, and with 2 turns and a 1 1/8 at Aqueduct. Tasso, with his speed, will give Mogambo all he can handle, and if you like the long shots, go for Broad Bush.
All right, Bo.
And Ken West and his Alice Jarvis, who is the owner of this bowling center, which is located right across the street from Bradley International Airport, as we're ready for the championship game.
Here we go, 18,000 to the winner, but to the man seated, Ray Perez, the victory is what he wants to make him eligible for next week's Firestone Tournament of Champions. Cook
really looks sharp in that semifinal game. He's going to be tough for Perez to handle.
An impressive first shot by Steve Cook. If you just joined us, he eliminated Del Warren 222 to 194. Now an experienced player, despite the fact that he hasn't been on tour that long or hasn't won a PBA tour event.
Started the tour in the fall of this past 1985, bowled 7 tournaments, but tremendous amateur experience, Chris.
Beautiful shot by the right-hander. So it's right against the left, and notice how those steps quickened after that strike.
5-step delivery, nice little push away on that second step, extends that arm. Short arm swing, gets that wrist in good position, down low, big pivot step, drives right through. First shot in the championship round, just planted that foot, no doubt about it. Match is all even through 1 frame.
5 feet 8 inches tall, 165 pounds. In match games, won 20 of 24. And the rude awakening of 4, 6, 7.
The left-hand lane, once again, is the tough lane for the right-handed bowler. He goes high, goes right through the middle. He tried to play the shot exactly like he played it on lane 28, not to be, leaves a wide open split. Should just go for the 4 and 7 pins. Forget about the 6. Keep the pin count.
All right. We're in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Final game of Greater Hartford Open. Baseball on ABC tomorrow afternoon, 3 Eastern, both in Canada. That's right, St. Louis Cardinals being hosted by Montreal, Kansas City Royals, at Toronto against the Blue Jays.
Two Missouri teams. Watch out for the Cardinals. Tudor looks sharp this year. Heath at catch. Bob Forsch pitching well. And by the way, Bob Forsch, a pretty avid bowler in the St. Louis area.
Here's a great professional, Steve Cook. Double for Cook here in the final game. Won the United States Open this year. We only have one professional in 14 previous tournaments to win 2, and that was Walter Ray Williams. And now Cook is trying to become the second, while Perez is trying to win his first tour title.
And for all the aspiring players next week at the Firestone, Chris, Cook has a tremendous record there. Remember his phenomenal 287 game when he won the Firestone in 1981. So he looks sharp.
Three-bagger. Look at Steve Cook. Waltzing on the deck. Very agile.
Cook has the experience. He knows that he has a rookie out there he's bowling against. Somebody who's not experienced. He's trying to shut him out right away. He wants these first 3 frames to attack. Look at him looking back at Perez. Psychological and physiological battle going on out there. Let's see how Perez reacts.
Good break for the 29-year-old pro from Cincinnati, who last year teamed with Mike Edwards to win the Bowler's Journal doubles title.
Gets a good break. The 2-pin goes to the sideboard, does its job, takes out the 4. The 4 trips into the 9. Now the key frame early in the match for Perez, as his wife Sherry Perez looks on, the key frame, it will be right now. He started with a strike in the first frame, went high and left the 4, 6, 7 split. He's looking down at the approach, making the adjustment on the lane. This is a big shot. He must get around the pocket to keep some pressure on Cook.
Oh, a 9.
A disappointed man right there. Ray Perez makes the adjustment, throws what apparently looks like a perfect shot. The ball cuts through the pin so sharply that the 5 chops right off the 9. Not to be for Perez, but at least he knows where to play the lane. He'll be back in the match when the final 6 frames.
Early stages now of our final match in the Greater Hartford Open. See, Perez is trailing. We'll be...
You don't give your word, then go back on the deal. You don't shake a man's hand unless that's how you feel. The best way to show you mean what you say is man to man, the American way. Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
Yeah. What is this? Oh, that's a, Billy, that's a, America's learning that it takes a new breed of mechanic to service today's sophisticated cars. The Firestone Mastercare mechanic, trained at one of 48 Firestone training centers, trained in the latest automotive technology on specially designed state-of-the-art equipment, because that's what it takes to be a mechanic today.
America's driving to Firestone.
It's ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour season finale. Past winners take aim at the richest purse on the tour, the $250,000 Tournament of Champions, next Saturday.
We are still running behind our allotted time schedule, so we bowled through in the 4th frame. Steve Cook, at whom you're looking, left the 6-pin, covered it, marking with a spare. 31-pin lead over tournament leader Ray Perez.
The ability of Perez to string strikes as he opened up a tremendous lead in this 160-man field through 42 games will be tested here in the last 6 frames. Trails the big guy Cook by 31.
Seven-pin, there is little Jill, who's 5 years old.
Jill says, solid 7, so what? What's the difference? Mommy's saying, money in the bank, honey. We need it in the Cook treasury. Hey. Steve Cook, who has been so good on his spares today, uses that hard, straight trajectory of his spares. I like the way Cook shoots his spares. He used to be quite shaky on them. He keeps the same ball, flattens his wrist out, and throws the ball very hard to cut down the friction.
All right. Oh.
Well, there's a guy who did the giant football games and about every other sport. The top guy in pro broadcasting, my guy, Hall of Famer Chris Schenkel.
There you are.
I saw that circa under there, 1961.
Yeah, I like that circa. As long as there aren't two other numbers to the right of it.
Very important.
And, of course, 25 of those years, the 25th ending next week. Been right out here with you fellas, Bo. Greatest guys I think I've met. You professionals.
I think the pros can say that same to you, Chris. As Harry Golden always introduces, the nicest guy in sports broadcasting, Chris Schenkel. But right now, Ray Perez, major problem, has a 4-9 split here. If he doesn't convert, he'll fall way behind, almost 40 pins behind Steve Cook. Going to be close.
Ooh. Just so very close. No breaks for this professional from Cincinnati. In a short time, we've gotten to know. He's a nifty person, and if he stays out here, he'll do well, too.
The man who has a vested interest in this match is Jimmy Pritz Jr., who is the man on the bubble, or 52nd on the Firestone list. If Ray Perez comes from behind and wins this match, Pritz does not go to Akron tomorrow to start the tournament, and Perez will take his place. If Cook can save Pritz, he has a trip.
Now from the West Coast, Steve Cook, 222 to Del Warren's 194. That's how Steve got here.
Still a long way to go. 43-pin lead as Cook uses all 16 feet of the approach. 43-pin lead, 5 frames to go. Let's see what kind of closer Steve Cook is in the game of bowling.
Great deal of emotion shown by Steve Cook today. Really wants this one as a prelude to the Firestone.
The lateral attack. Perez from the right into the 1-3. Cook from the left into the 1-2. Cook likes this shot. He throws the ball just the way he wants it. 43-pin lead through 6 frames. Can extend to 53 pins with another strike here in the 7th.
Let's talk about that 6, 7, 9.
We've seen unusual leaves in the last 2 years, and here comes another one of them. The 6, 7, 9. Holy cow, the head pin drives right through the 6, 9. What Steve Cook has to do is get the ball over in the 6-pin area, drive it into the 9, and hopefully the 9 will drive into the 7.
What are the odds on that?
Not really that tough, Chris.
Okay.
If he gets it over just to the right of the 6-pin, the key is the action of the 6-pin off the 9.
Mm-hmm. Nope. An open frame for Steve Cook of Roseville, California. We'll have more of this match following this word.
When the big Q flows, America goes.
Hey, that truck runs, a Fisher & Son doesn't.
Only gets the big Q. Quaker State.
Well, you can depend on number 1.
Fuel pop, they start with Pennsylvania grade crude.
Nothing like Quaker State.
It's a one-of-a-kind formula. Stable viscosity, keeps the oil flowing, protecting, no matter what.
No substitute for quality. I got 2 great partners.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
All across this land, Americans are celebrating our greatest lady's 100th birthday. By an act of Congress, America commemorates this event by minting United States Liberty coins. These valuable keepsakes will be a lasting way for you to treasure liberty. United States Liberty coins, singly or in sets, at banks, savings and loans, and Kmart stores. Now you can keep liberty in mint condition forever.
Just because you've washed your car doesn't mean you're finished. After each wash, you need some Armor All. On the dash, the bumper, and especially the tires. After all, when you're in love, what's a few extra minutes? Armor All. It's the finishing touch every time you wash your car.
Before we left, this man opened. While we were away, his opponent Perez doubled. And Steve Cook of California comes back with a powerful strike after the error in the 7th frame.
What a quick change in the sport of bowling, where you see the 0 for the split of Steve Cook. If he had struck on that ball, he would have had a 53-pin lead. Instead, he gets the open frame. Perez steps up in the 7th and 8th frames, throws 2 more strikes, and now the match is up for grabs, just 11 pins difference, as Steve Cook gets 1 more re-rack.
Sometimes they bowl rather slowly throughout the 4 matches. Thus, we run behind our 90-minute time schedule. I always like to explain that. Thus, we were away while this man came up with the double. But you'll see him in a moment.
The number 1 man, that's the position Perez started this match in, has only won 3 out of 14 matches this year. But he's right back in the thick of things now. 9th frame for both players.
And then this, a 4, 6, 7, 10 for the big left-hander on the left lane.
The 6, 7, 9 split, remember that in the 7th frame? Steve Cook says, hey, this lane is not hooking quite as much. I'll make an adjustment. Bow, right through the middle, the 4, 6, 7, 10. He's in a position now where he has to use that power. He's looking at the scoreboard, figuring the score, experience showing here. He will take and throw the ball as hard as he can and try to make this split, try to make something good happen. He's in trouble. Watch this. Whoa, you don't realize how close that came.
Most speed I've ever seen on a bowling ball, Nelson. Believe me, we've seen a lot of them.
You are correct, Chris. He was upwards of 25 miles an hour. Watch the action of the 6-pin. This is how you would make this type of split. He drives the 6 back in there almost. Now watch the head of the 6-pins almost gets up and hits the 7. Right now, Perez, sitting on the bench, has taken a 3-pin lead. He can extend to 13.
Crossing over and leaving the 6-pin for the man who wants to be a part of the big bowling week in Akron, Ohio, starting really tomorrow, and then Monday night, the PBA Hall of Fame, and this year, George Pappas, Johnny Gunther, and journalist Dick Evans of the Miami Herald. We congratulate all 3. They'll be inducted.
Sherry Perez looks on. She's figuring the score. With a spare here, Sherry, your husband will lead by 2 pins going into the 10th frame. Not even close. He was looking at that title, and oh my goodness, what a change in the match. It has actually set up a position where we might have a tie in the match.
Sherry knows full well.
A bowling pin is 4.5 inches approximately in diameter. The bowling ball is almost 9 inches in diameter. You have a lot of room to work with, but he used more than was necessary there. At least 6 inches either side. Here we go. 10th frame. Perez trails by 10 pins.
A tremendous lift into that shot. And he left the 3, 6, 9, 10.
Has to make this spare to even have a chance. If Perez misses this spare, Cook will win the tournament sitting on the bench. If Perez converts, he'll force Cook to get some sort of mark in the 10th.
as we go into ABC's Wide World of Sports time. It'll be coming up next, United States Motocross. Live coverage of the...
Cook is a winner, Chris.
Yes.
Sorry.
Tough break.
What a change.
Yes.
Cook wins sitting on the bench. He opens in the 9th. Perez opens the 9th and 10th and finishes with just 168.
And his first time in that spot as a tournament leader. Tremendous amount of pressure and just lost it at the end, but he'll be back. Ray Perez, great bowler from Cincinnati, Ohio. Coming up next, ABC's Wide World of Sports. Travel arrangements made through a promotional fee paid by United Airlines, serving 13 cities throughout Asia and the Pacific. United, a fresh breeze across the Pacific. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports. Of course, Cook is the winner of the Greater Hartford Open. The Professional Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Midas. Take it to Midas. Take it to someone you trust. By United States Liberty Coins. Keep Liberty in mint condition with United States Liberty Coins. And by Quaker State Motor Oil in easy-to-pour and resealable plastic bottles. And there is the man, Steve Cook, Roseville, California, his 10th title, 18,000. He's already eligible for Firestone. See you all next week from Akron.